Hi everybody, it is Jared Johnson with DayTraders FX. Nice to see you all. We had to postpone our morning webinar. We usually have a nice Friday webinar to wrap up the week, talk about what we learned, what we want to do better, how we did, how everything went, so on and so on. Due to the holiday week coming ahead, or holiday here in the U.S., Independence Day, I'm doing a little traveling over the weekend, and I got a little off my travel schedule. So we'll have our normal stuff next week, but I got caught in travels this morning, so that's why we had to postpone the session and do a video instead. But so far everything's kind of been coming along fairly nicely. So definitely a surprise of the week was the yen pairs. Yen pairs went crazy, and the only yen pair that I I think I got right. None of these yen pairs, by the way, gave us any confirmation, right? So we had these big moves up on dollar yen. Dollar yen made this move higher, and we were looking for it to break out. So no breakout here, stops above there, never broke out, so there was never a trade. Euro yen, same thing. We were looking for this euro yen to do a little bit of this right here, right? Consolidate, breakout, never broke out, no trade. And now these things are creating these interesting little levels here that I love. Anyways, we'll talk more about that. But so we never really got any confirmation on these yen pairs. Pound was the same kind of thing. The pound yen just kind of made this. Where are you? Pound yen. There you go. So the pound yen made this kind of a run right here. Same thing. We're looking for it to kind of consolidate, make its way, form something good for us, and then break out. And just nothing. The only one that, and interestingly, the one that I was most skeptical about was the CAD yen, but we called this one all the way up. So I've been talking about the CAD yen all week long, saying this is interesting. We have this falling wedge and two missed weekly pivots. And what did it do? It broke out, pulled back, retested, hit the weekly pivot. And then I talked about this yesterday. I said we have a rounding bottom kind of forming right here, and so we're going to see if resistance can make a break for it. And it sure the heck did. This thing broke from 83, like 83.20 all the way up here to 84.20. So it ran 100 pips after breaking out down here at 82.50. So from the breakout here at 82.50, it's all the way up here at 84.30. It's run almost 200 pips up, and we were watching that. We were talking about it. So I hope some of you got into a little bit of that. But the interesting thing about all the yen pairs now is they've kind of rebalanced these levels, right? So now we have this weekly pivot that's taken out, that weekly pivot that's taken out, and it's going to be interesting to see where these yen pairs go. Are they ready for a big turnaround and a big push higher, or are they going to turn around and come back down? So we're going to watch and wait and see how that plays out and see where that goes, and we'll just kind of see how it goes. But yeah, as far as the yen pairs go, we're kind of just sitting on the sidelines waiting for those guys to play out. But what has happened is we've started to get a little bit of dollar movement. Let's look at, we're going into the end of the month and all that. Let's look at the dollar index. Dollar index made a nice little push lower. And remember, we're looking for the dollar index to make this kind of a run right here. And it's doing it. It's doing it. Head and shoulders, making its way down. Everything's looking pretty good there. So that's giving us definitely some hope. So what was one of the dollar trades we talked about? Well, a couple of the dollar trades we talked about was number one, this guy right here, dollar CAD. I was trying to show the discussion on this one here, which is right here. So dollar CAD. This was from yesterday morning, where it kind of had just the update and the things to keep an eye on. And the dollar CAD, remember this, we talked about shorting 132.75, so we wanted to see this thing break this support, pull back, and continue heading down. What did the dollar CAD do? It broke, pulled back a little bit lower, pulled back again, hit that 132.70 area. We got up here a little bit above 70 and then hit about 70 again right here, and then it proceeded to drop nicely. 125 or so pips right here is where it made its move down. And so that's kind of what we were looking to have happen. So This is kind of how the dollar CAD is behaving. So I hope everybody was able to make some money on this thing and grab a couple of pips and take this down. So remember, our lower target on dollar CAD, 130.50 and 131.00. So we're so far at 131.50. We've got that nice little weekly pivot right at 131.00. We've got this great imbalance level at 130.50. So we're going to keep looking for this thing to head lower, but it looks like the dollar move is well underway. Now, if we go over here and we just have a quick little peek at what's going on with the, with some of the things we've been watching for here, euro dollar, this was definitely one of them from the beginning of the week here, and we said this euro dollar is going to need to create some sort of a right shoulder for us, right? This 11500, 114.97, you can see that right there. This has got to hold. And what did it end up doing? Well, it made a decent little move for us here. Let's go to euro dollar for just a sec and see kind of how that's behaving. Euro dollar ended up kind of pushing lower, giving us a little run down into 115.29, and then it rallied up nicely. So this is that chart. We're looking at this support finally holding. This is going to be a great opportunity to get long euro dollar and trade this thing up into, at least 11800, 11900, and ideally into the 120 area, and then continue just shorting this thing to death and creating a perfect, just textbook head and shoulders pattern, and just watch that thing fall off the cliff. That would be perfect. But we've probably got a decent run up into the high teens or 120 area before this can start to make its way down. So let's look to trade this higher, and it definitely gave us a pretty nice little run today and over the last 24 hours. So pretty good little move there. Look for some pullback and some opportunities to continue getting long euro dollar. Absolutely want to continue getting long euro dollar. So anyways, euro dollar is looking good. We've talked a pretty good bit about the pound dollar as well. Pound dollar made its way nicely down here. You can see, just right into that little support zone, 130 and change. Remember, that was also on the watch list as well. Is the pound dollar going to hold? And so, we talked about the 4-hour chart, buying against 130. So buying against that 130. And you can see that has played out fairly well. We had a little 131 run, and it pushed a little lower one more time. So we had that, ran up and pushed a little lower, hit that 130 just about. We got down to 130, 30, 40, 50 area, and it's starting to rally and starting to make a bit of a run. So the pound dollar looks pretty good. We still have a very overextended 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. So that guy right there is getting some good bar counts. This is just basically, if you're not familiar with what the 200 moving average is, I've got a scanner program and a 15-minute trade program, and it's kind of based on how things are in relation to some moving averages and some other details. And this is just basically telling us pound dollar is oversold and it's starting to run off these levels. So, again, having a little bit of a double bottom right there wouldn't be out of the question. And buying that dip again, there was a nice opportunity to buy that dip here, and here as well. And if we get a nice little pullback over here, I would take that absolutely and get a little bit of a, kind of an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? So you can kind of see how that's forming. And if we get that up just a little bit and then that pullback, then that's, that would be a nice little head and shoulders pattern, something we could trade up into some of these upper levels. So we've got some great opportunities. We've got some really good things to work with. Dollar pairs are looking good. New Zealand dollar, we're watching this New Zealand dollar, excuse me, and it's testing some lows and it's testing some patience, excuse me, but hopefully this New Zealand dollar can start to catch a little bit of buying interest. So that would be fantastic. Got that nice little support zone at 66.85. That's something to kind of watch and keep an eye on. But really all this stuff is just pretty range bound. And in the summertime, remember, range bound is very common. Range bound is not surprising. And so to see this kind of just chopping around is very, very expected. And this is a perfect opportunity for this to turn around and start running back towards the top of the range, especially as that dollar index continues to correct. Okay, so that is what we're looking for there, folks. We've had some nice runs. Euro dollar looks good. Dollar CAD looks good. We're waiting on yen pairs. Um, and we're just going to kind of see where these guys play out and how they go and what we need to chase down going into Monday. So we'll have our live webinar on Monday as we always do. And we will see how these markets are looking and what they've got for us and where it goes from there. So thanks, everybody. Hopefully you've had a great, wonderful, fantastic week trading. On the positive side, I don't think anything really didn't behave for us. Whatever we got into, dollar CAD and some of the rest of those, at least behaved fairly well. So good stuff, everybody. Happy week. Hopefully it was great for all of you guys. Thanks. Take care, and I will see you guys all on Monday morning, bright and early, for our live webinar. Thanks, guys. Take care.